first, let's look at cessationists. I'll begin by defining the terms. The Bible talks about spiritual gifts in a few passages, such as 1 Corinthians 12, verses 8 through 10. These gifts include things like words of wisdom, faith, healing, miracles, prophecy, and tongues, or as listed in Romans 12, ministry, teaching, giving, and mercy. The cessationist position is that at some time after these gifts were given to people, certain of these gifts ceased in operation, so that people in churches today do not receive these particular gifts from the Holy Spirit any longer. As stated by one advocate of the position, so what is it that cessationists believe the Spirit has ceased? We only believe he has ceased one function, and that is he no longer gives believers today the miraculous spiritual gifts, gifts like speaking in tongues, prophecy, and healing. In what ways might you be misrepresenting a cessationist? First off, cessationists do not believe that all spiritual gifts have ceased. Like the quote says, normally the qualification is just certain miraculous spiritual gifts have ceased. So cessationists do believe in spiritual gifts, do believe that the Holy Spirit still gives these gifts today, and do believe that church members should expect to be given a spiritual gift from God that they in turn should seek to use in the church. Another important clarification is that the cessation refers particularly to the Holy Spirit giving the spiritual gift, and not the action itself per se. For example, cessationists believe that the Spirit no longer gives an individual a gift of healing. That is, that no person can say, my gift is healing, and such a person could be expected to have power given from God to them, particularly as an individual, to heal people. However, cessationists do still believe in ongoing divine healing. That is, if you go to a cessationist church, you'll likely hear prayers requesting God to heal people in the congregation of various ailments. Although they do not believe the spiritual gift is available today, they still believe God has all power to do whatever he wants. Similarly, some have claimed that cessationism teaches that God does not have the power today to do certain things, but this is not the position of the cessationist. Cessationists believe nobody today has the gift of tongues, but they don't deny that God could still cause someone to speak a language they have not learned if God chooses to do so. Cessationists don't believe in a person being given the spiritual gift of casting out demons, but they do believe in demons and that God still has the power to cast them out, and that God responds to the prayers of his people. And even the decision of God to cause certain gifts to cease, in the cessationist view, was something God chose to do for his purposes. Similarly, claims that cessationists don't believe in the Holy Spirit or don't believe the Spirit is active in the church today are misrepresentations. Cessationists believe and affirm both. For a continuationist, which is a person who does not believe in cessationism, there are clear ways to define the differences and plenty of room for vigorous theological debate, while still representing cessationists accurately and fairly. Before we move on from cessationism, I know some would like to comment that they know of a cessationist who does in fact believe that all spiritual gifts have ceased, or that God really never does heal anyone today. That may be true, but these small outliers should not be used as arguments against the vast majority of mainstream cessationists. There are Catholics who believe that the Pope is illegitimate, but most don't, and we shouldn't use that small group to argue against mainstream Catholicism. There are some Baptists who hold provocative signs at funerals, but their views are not representative of and should not be used to argue against all Baptists.